Well, hey everybody, it's Outland. How's it going? And today I want to talk about some things that I would really like to purchase this year. Now, I know as gearheads, backpackers, we say we got so much gear, we don't need to buy any more gear. We all say that, right? But every year I say that, and every year there's gear that I want to get. And this year is no exception. 2020 there are some gear that I would really like to purchase this year. So really quick, I'm going to give you the list of the top items that I would like to purchase for 2020. Not saying I'm going to purchase these items, but they're on my wish list. Okay, so if you guys follow the channel, you know that I am a pretty avid hammock camper. I said I would never go to the ground again. I strictly will only backpack with a hammock. Well, things change. I don't plan on giving up the hammock anytime soon. I would like to possibly broaden my shelter horizons a little bit and maybe go back to a one-person solo tent, just for the plain fact that I would like to explore some new places this year. And if you hammock camp, then you know that sometimes when you backpack in certain places, you don't know where you're going to be camping, especially like here in Ohio. We have designated spots where you have to camp. You can't just sleep anywhere, and that gets really annoying because they can be very overcrowded, overused sites that really don't accommodate hammocks at all. So if I'm going to explore some new places this year, I possibly would like to have a tent just because I don't know where I'm going to be going and I don't want to be stuck out in the middle somewhere and not have a place to sleep. So what I'm looking at is the Tarptent Protrail solo tent this year. It's an ultralight tent. Weighs practically nothing. It's a good price, and I like it because I won't have to break the bank on it. I still invest most of my money in hammock camping, but with the tarp tent, I can spend just a little bit and get a really nice lightweight tent and still enjoy all those things that come with the tent. It's a fully enclosed tent. It sets up with trekking poles. It's a really nice silicone-coated fabric, 30D. It's highly adjustable. It has a bathtub floor and a mesh screen, which keeps it bug-proof. It just seems like a pretty nice overall tent for what I would like to do with a tent this year. I still hate sleeping on the ground. Don't prefer it. I love being between two trees. But this will open up my possibilities to do some more things, like maybe do a section of a long trail this year or things like that. And if I'm doing really long days where I'm, want to get up early and maybe go to bed late, I don't necessarily want to be fiddling with my hammock setup because there is a lot of tweaking that goes with setting up a hammock. So that's one item that I'm possibly looking at this year. Okay, along with that, to set up that tent, you need some pretty nice trekking poles. I don't have a really expensive pair, and I don't think they're really that necessary for as much as I use trekking poles. But I was thinking this year I might change out what I've been using, which are the Protrail aluminum poles. Those were sent to me a while back to do a review on, and I've just been using those. They've been great, but they lack some of the features that I really want with trekking poles. So I'm looking at the Cascade Mountain Tech carbon fiber poles. I think they're great. I think the price is great. The reviews are great. Everyone I've talked to who uses them loves them, and they're lightweight and strong. I have a tendency to break trekking poles. For some reason, I've snapped like 3 sets of poles, and so I don't want to invest a huge amount of money in really expensive trekking poles. But I think if I do get another set of trekking poles, it will be these Cascade Mountain Tech. And because I'm filming most of my adventures, I don't usually really like to use trekking poles that much. But they do come in handy, especially for setting up a tent or things like that. So, and I can do porch mode with my tarp when I'm hammock camping. So there are multiple functions for these. The next item on my list is kind of a frivolous thing, but to me, it's just something I want, and it's inexpensive, and why the heck not? And that is the ZPacks Slim Stuff Sack. It's Dyneema. I measured it out. Dimensions look like they're pretty perfect for the Helix Chair Zero, which I am going to be carrying a lot this year, especially if I'm tent camping. I know it comes with a stuff sack already, but I really like the Dyneema stuff sack. I think it would be great. And using this slim stuff sack, I'll shave a little bit of weight and add a little more water repellency to my chair, which is cool. And I just like it. Don't necessarily need it, but piece of gear I may end up picking up this year. Another piece of gear I've been really wanting for a while is a set of down booties. Now, I've been looking at the Goose Feet gear ones, and they're just super expensive, and I'm cheap. I don't want to pay $70 for these down booties that I'll probably use maybe 3 times a year at most, because I do most of my camping in the shoulder seasons and the summer. I don't do a whole lot of deep winter camping, so I just couldn't justify spending 70 plus bucks on these down booties. So when Dutch came out with his synthetic UP booties, I was kind of intrigued, because these are much more in my price range, and they're synthetic, so if they get wet, it's not as much of a big deal as it would be down. And I just think these look right along the lines of what I was looking at. So I may pick up a pair of these Dutch UP booties and see where it goes. I don't know. Another thing I've been really wanting to pick up this year is a new rain jacket, a rain shell. And, you know, I've been using the Frog Togs cheap rain shell for a while. Those things are okay, but in the warmer months, they are like wearing a plastic trash bag. They don't ventilate at all. And they keep you dry, but to a point, but then you end up sweating so much inside them that it really just ends up becoming super uncomfortable, because you're so wet inside these things that, I don't know. The lightweight is great and everything, but I've been looking for something different this year. So I looked at the Outdoor Research Helium 2, which is very popular among mini backpackers. Super lightweight, very nice. I think ZPacks also makes a lightweight shell. But I also been looking at the Argon shell from Dutch, another item from Dutch. And I really like the concept of this lightweight jacket. I like how I like the many features of it. I like how it cinches up and just looks super lightweight and very waterproof. And I might pick one of these up this year. Another thing I'm looking at this year, you know, I love coffee on the trail. There's nothing more awesome to me when I'm backpacking than a hot cup of coffee first thing in the morning. Man, I love my coffee. I think the only person who loves coffee more than me might be Josh Ebersole. But last year I ended up buying one of those GSI pour over drip things that you clip onto a mug. I don't even know what it's called, what the product is called, but I ended up hating that product. I used it once out in the field, and just because it's not very convenient for backpacking, and because you need a lot of water to rinse those things out, and it's really, really annoying to keep it clean, to get rid of all those grounds and everything. So I made 1 cup of coffee with it when I was out in Grayson Highlands, and then I stopped using that weekend. So what I am looking at this year is the Soto Helix coffee maker. Now this is just a spiral inverted cone. I think it's stainless steel piece of gear, but it collapses flat, but it takes regular filters. So that's, to me, way easier just to put my coffee grounds in a filter and then be able to just pull those right out once my coffee's made, and then put that in a Ziploc bag, and there's my trash. Way easier, way more convenient. Definitely interested in this product. It's a good price. It's not bad at all on Amazon right now, and I think that's probably something I will definitely pick up. I think it weighs something like 1.5 ounces or 1 ounce. It's super light, just a great looking piece of gear. So I probably definitely will be picking up one of those this year. Another piece of gear I'm considering for 2020 is, man, I have so many headlamps as it is, but I probably have about 4 or 5 headlamps now, and there are so many different options out there, but I'm really impressed with the Nitecore line of headlamps that everyone seems to be just praising. The NU25 especially, I like the price, I like the size of it, and I love the fact more than anything that it's a rechargeable via USB. You don't need to worry about extra batteries. That to me is fantastic, because I carry tons of spare chargers with me to power my cameras and everything else in my phone. So I could just recharge my headlamp along with everything else. So I am very, very interested in the Nitecore line of headlamps. Probably will end up picking one of those up here sometime, probably this spring. So some other gear I'm looking at, this is more in the super high wish list items that I probably end up won't be getting. I don't know. We'll see, unless I come into a lot of money or something. But one thing I've really been wanting to do is upgrade my quilt game for a while. And there's so many different options, you know, especially for hammock camping and everything else. I've been looking at hammock gear, lots of different brands, but there's just so much great things to be said right now about UGQ, and I actually got to meet them when I was at Trail Days, and I was really impressed with their products, and I really like the quality of the stuff coming out of UGQ. So if things work out this year, I may end up purchasing a new top quilt from UGQ. What I really need from you guys is recommendations on temperature ratings. Like I said, I do most of my camping in the warmer seasons, the shoulder seasons, in the summertime. So I kind of need something that's going to work, you know, maybe down to 20, 30 degrees, up to like 50 degrees at night. So, you know, what's a good range? You know, I've got basically 2 sleeping bag type items that I use right now. I have a North Face bag that's 20 degrees that I use for all my winter camping, and it works most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't. And then I have a Costco quilt that I use for super warm months because it works down to about 50. But I need something, a really good down quilt that will work across a wide spectrum. So maybe there isn't anything that will really work. Maybe I just have to get a cold weather one and a warm weather one, but we'll see. But that's definitely up there on my wish list of nice to have. May not get it. Who knows what'll happen. And then one last thing that's super high on my super wish list of things I really want just came out a few days ago. Lite AF Dyneema Hammock Tarp. Now, this is a freaking awesome piece of gear. And I know that Chris over at Lite AF, he worked really directly with Frozen, who is a very avid hammock camper. He did most of the AT in his hammock. So Frozen definitely knows what he's talking about when it comes to tarps and things that need adjusted and made correctly on these things. He worked with, those two worked together, and they came up with this Dyneema tarp that is just the bomb. It eliminates the catenary cut, which most tarps have, which you don't need in a hammock. And I never understood why they did the cat cut in hammocks, because it just causes more exposure. You got more wind and more moisture that could possibly come underneath your tarp. So they got rid of that. So it's just a flat cut at the end. And then they angled the pullouts, so that keeps you a more taut pullout. Points, absolutely love it. Really great design. And I know they tested this for months to perfect this tarp design. So that is something that is definitely on my list. I would like to be able to use that for hammock camping and possibly ground tarp camping. Maybe that's something I'd kind of like to try this year too. So, but you know, it's a little pricey. It's not quite in my price range, but so it's up there on my really want to have list. We'll see what happens. Again, you never know. All right, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys real soon.